Welcome to What's the Score, a series solely dedicated to the support of Central Florida's small business and entrepreneurs. Donated as a community service by Salem Media Group. Now, here's Christopher Hart and Rich Jekyll.
Hello again, and welcome to What's the Score, the show designed to help you come up with that winning combination for your business or actually any project in life. All right, I am Christopher Hart of the American Adversaries Radio Show, and sporting plaid today would be my man Rich Jekyll of SCORE. Rich, good to see you.
Christopher Young at heart. Always a pleasure.
You're as young as you feel, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, I feel about 16, except when I get up in the morning. Then I feel about 60.
Indeed.
All right.
I am 60. What are you talking about?
Okay, we're coming to you once again. Compliments of the Salem Media Group here in Orlando. Great folks over here. We'll tell you more about them a little bit later on in the show. The purpose of the show is to make you aware of the services that SCORE has for the entrepreneurial community, mostly in this area, but nationwide.
Central Florida, yeah, nationwide.
But nationwide, really, we want the word to get out everywhere. So if you've got friends and family in other cities in the nation, make sure that they know about SCORE.
Yep.
Because somebody that they know, even if they're not an entrepreneur themselves, most likely will be. And once again, SCORE is the mentorship program is free, the big F word.
Oh, my God, don't say it.
We've already got into it this morning. But anyway, the program is available for your asking. It's at the National Entrepreneur Center in the Fashion Square Mall. And that's where there's going to be a big to-do pretty soon, right?
May 9th, my friend. May 9th.
And that is BizFest. And just a real quick snippet, once again, what's BizFest all about? What's the purpose of BizFest?
Networking, primarily networking and education. There are different speakers there. There is speed counseling there where you can go in and talk to a mentor for 15, 20 minutes.
Yep.
And if you have an issue that can't be resolved, then they will schedule you a full 1-hour counseling appointment. But in general, you just come in if you have some questions. And then we have what we call the Shark Tank, but our
version.
Our version, it's called the Pitch Fest.
Right. And that's sort of the culmination of the festivities of the day. There's also a keynote address after that.
No, the cocktail hour is the cocktail.
Yeah, but it is a great networking opportunity, an opportunity to come over to the National Entrepreneur Center, find out more about what they do there, and in particular, SCORE. And there'll be some great sponsors there who will have tables set up, and they'll be there to assist you, knowing that you are most likely an entrepreneur, small business owner, or maybe a large business owner. You're all invited.
Yeah, there's only 3 tables left, so get on it.
If you want to be a sponsor, go to orlando.score.org. The information for BizFest and PitchFest, and by the way, PitchFest, they are now accepting applications for the contestants. We have 2 categories: emerging businesses and existing businesses, up to 2 years, and that's also in the planning stages. Up to 2 years is the emerging category, and 2+ is obviously the existing. And there'll be cash prizes for each of the categories for the top 3 finalists who will actually make it to Pitch Fest. So there'll be 3 from each category who will make their pitch to a panel of judges and the audience.
That's right.
Who will also be able to participate and vote if they like. And they will count, the audience in its entirety will count as one judge. And they will choose the order of winning. Top prize, second prize, and third prize. And each contestant who makes it to the Pitch Fest will get prizes. And the top prizes, I think, is $2,500 each, and other prizes as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's free. Begins at noon, culminates around 7:30 when the cocktail party wraps up after Rich puts away the last of the beer.
That might not be 9:30.
That's 7:30, okay. Anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. Please pre-register. It's not required, but it is suggested. Orlando.score.org is the website. 407-420-4844 is the phone number for SCORE in the Entrepreneur Center.
Yeah. Hey, we talk a lot, we get questions a lot in SCORE. What do you do in the community? So I wanted to mention just a couple things that we're involved with in the community.
Sure.
One is Million Cups. We have attendees that go there every week. I did a seminar for Westside Technical Institute, the Orlando group.
Yeah, real quick, though, you got to tell people what Million Cups is.
Oh, tell them.
It's an incubator program over at Rollins College,
right,
where they meet at once a week, isn't it? Once a week, and you can go over there and you can pitch your idea to them, and they'll brainstorm it with you.
There you go. And it's just like Pitch Fest, except they help you.
Right, and these are people, once again, from the business community, Rollins College professors and the like, who are over there to assist you, because the whole purpose of these programs is to nurture businesses in our local area,
right?
So that they can be more successful, the chance of success higher.
So we also did the Veterans Initiative, which was a gathering where the veterans came in and they were interviewed by places like what's the big college, or what's the big hotel chain?
Rosen
yes,
Hotels.
Yes.
Yep.
And Disney and those types of people actually interview on site. And that's a 6-week thing. And then we did DECA. So basically we touched about 450 people in the last month.
You can find out more about what SCORE has to offer in terms of what they do in the community, the seminars they have to offer, the breakfast series and the lunch series now also that they have to offer, and, of course, the BizFest at orlando.score.org, orlando.score.org. And if you would like someone from SCORE to make a presentation in front of your group, if you feel it's appropriate, contact them over there. You guys love to do that, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So orlando.score.org is the website, 407-420-4844. And they obviously come across a lot of people, meet a lot of people, that is, who have experience from a lot of different parts of life. And we have another guest today who's going to give us a little exposure into her world.
Yeah, and you're always talking about your education, how you were a philosopher and all that stuff.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you do all the time.
Yeah, I got a degree in it.
This time we got a Ph.D.
All right, you one-upped me, or two-upped me.
I did.
All right, and today's guest is Dr. Roxanne Bellamy Campbell. Dr. Campbell, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. First, let me start with this. Have you ever had any association with SCORE?
I scored with SCORE.
You scored with SCORE?
I did. I know that's a little on the nose, but here's the reality. I have been a client of SCORE for 11 years now.
Okay. Excellent.
Yes. And I started out when I found myself at a transition point in my business.
Okay.
I had moved to a new city. I was in Rochester, New York. SCORE Rochester.
My home,
shout out
right
SCORE to Rochester,
Western New York.
And it was the Rochester SCORE mentoring that really anchored me while I was moving my business.
Okay.
Things had all changed. Address changed. All the little things and then the other things on top of it. So I think that it was an opportunity for a win-win and then a win, because the people I was serving were winning because I was doing better.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right.
It's a good thought.
Yeah. So
a good philosophical thought.
So let's then back up a little bit and find out how you got into the predicament that you were in, so that we can better understand how SCORE helped get you further down the road.
The predicament. Which one?
Let's start out with, are you from the Rochester area? Is that where
was
you grew
the
up?
predicament. No, I had moved there.
All right. Yes, that's right. You just said move. So where were you from? Let's put it that way.
Originally from Utica, New York.
New York.
Not far away.
Oh
2.5 hours down the road, right?
Upstate New York.
Yes,
I'm from
a country
Attica.
girl, born and raised out there.
Yep.
And I traveled around the country, came back, did my thing, right? Came back home. Once I got back home, I realized, having been that W-2 employee for probably 15 years, 10, 15 years,
all right,
I realized I was at another point in my life. That's when I started really opening my mind and was encouraged to start my own business.
So you had been
in Utica. I had already founded that business.
Okay.
And then relocated to Rochester and had to reestablish.
What do you think was the overriding reason why you went from being an employee to an employer?
That's funny. I felt like I was I'm going to be real honest.
Yeah,
I felt like I was like squeezed out of where I was, not by the people around me, but by my own interest and my own motivations. I loved what I was doing before, But I realized there was something more that I wanted just because that's who I am.
Okay.
And that's how I am.
Excellent.
And when I had an opportunity to take everything I'd done as an employee and apply it as a consultant, I was free.
You were 1099 at the time?
Yeah, 1099 life is
Independent
another
consultant.
story,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But yeah,
So
it
you-
was an opportunity for me to do the things I loved doing before, but with more flexibility, more freedom, and I found a lot of fulfillment in that.
So you took the experiences that you had developed over that 15 years
Yes.
and you put them to use.
Yes, I did.
For yourself.
Yes.
Any regrets?
I try not.
Probably the regret is you didn't do it sooner.
So okay, so
It's
you started.
interesting.
So what did you do for 15 years that led you into a consulting business? And where along the way did you get your Ph.D.? Was it before you began as an employee?
Yes, I got my. Well, no, I started flipping burgers to get to my degree.
Okay.
Building great sandwiches at fast food restaurants. Right?
Good, okay.
Doing whatever I had to do to get through.
Good.
And when I finished my studies, I graduated from Syracuse University. Go Orange!
All right.
Got my bachelor's degree in psychology there. I knew at that point that I wanted to help people. So I said, I think I want to be a psychologist. Well, in order to be a psychologist, you can't do that. You can't hang your shingle, can't get in there without a PhD.
Right.
So it was kind of like a given. It was like, if you're going to do it, you have to go all the way. So then I finished at Syracuse, went on to University at Albany, SUNY Albany, State University of New York at Albany.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I got my PhD. And then I moved to California, the first chance I had to get to some sunshine.
And out of that snow.
Out of Western
What
New York.
was it?
Yeah. Can't
Loved
imagine.
it. Yeah.
Can't imagine.
Did you?
And that's where I became a therapist.
And so
after
you
I
went to work
finished.
at another doctor's office, I take it?
That's exactly what I did while I was pursuing the hours that it took to apply to take the licensing exam. So I practiced under someone else's license
Right.
as a psych assistant and
Which is
for about 9 years.
Very common thing, yeah.
And I worked in residential treatment facilities for severely disturbed adolescents. I worked in psychiatric hospitals. I did outpatient work.
Wow.
And it was
You did
very
the heavy lifting stuff.
I did the heavy lifting stuff, and I really burnt out. I
Yeah.
did.
Mm-hmm.
I burnt out because I was working with people. After a while, I became known for specialties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mine was drug and alcohol rehabilitation, stress management,
Mm-hmm.
depression, working with people who were overcoming a history of being abused.
Really
and so
serious.
Yeah,
heavy
Right.
stuff.
All right. Well, we're out of time in this segment of the show. When we come back, we're going to find out more about Roxanne Bellamy Campbell's, Dr. Campbell's experiences and how they led her into business for herself and how SCORE helped out along the way.
I'm going to get analyzed during the break.
You need it too, brother. All right,
Somebody's got to get me first.
we'll
Come
be
on.
right back with more of What's the Score? Okay, welcome back to What's the Score? Once again, ladies and gentlemen, SCORE is a great organization there to help you and those entrepreneurial feelings you getting in there. Right? All right.
Got to do something.
That's right. Orlando.score.org is where you can find out all about it. And I am Christopher Hart along with Rich Jekyll. Today we have Dr. Roxanne Bellamy. You'd like us to call you Dr. Bellamy.
That's where I am now.
That's part of the flip.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And I like the way you said it during the break there. Your boat, how did you
My
put it?
boat flipped,
But it didn't
but
sink.
my ship did not sink.
All right.
I'm making
like
the
it.
adjustment.
You're sailing on.
I'm
Philosophy.
sailing on.
Philosophy.
Life
You ought to
happens,
catch that.
right?
Yeah.
Life is going to happen.
Yep.
Lots of transitions.
Yeah. So you were in psychology. Your doctor, PhD in psychology, and you were in California working with the most difficult of cases, and it got to you. I mean, as it would. And at that point, did you move back to Rochester? How did you end up back all the way back in Rochester from California?
That's an interesting question, too.
That's a depressing question.
Everyone what's wrong
Why
with
would
you? What are
you
you
do
thinking?
that?
You're going where?
Right.
But, it's life. Life was happening. I was starting a new family. I had my first child. He turned 2. All of my family was still in New York. He started calling his neighbor Grandpa. And I thought, oh. And that's when it was time to consider the whole family. And we had the opportunity to move back, be near my mom.
I see.
Be near both sides of the family, actually.
Right.
And so we made that big move and came back for family. Moved back to Utica. And we were there for about 9 years.
Jeez.
9 years. And I thought we'd landed. And then
the boat flipped.
My husband at the time got a great job offer, and our family was working at making things work together as one. So everybody up and moved to Rochester, and we were there for about 10 years.
I see.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then your boat flipped.
And then the real boat flipped, and I ended up in a situation with a divorce, and our family was facing a lot of difficult decisions. And it was at that point when everything was being sold, house was being sold, divorce was getting finalized, and I realized I can go anywhere I want to go, and I can do anything I want to do.
You had already started your own business by that time.
My business had been going for many years by then.
Let's go back then to when your business started, because it was your business that saved you in the end.
And it still is.
Because it gave you the financial, it gave you the freedom to be able to do what you want, the independence.
Yeah.
So let's go back. So after 15 years and you decided you wanted to strike out on your own, did you just do it cold turkey? In other words, one day you're working at a firm and the next day you're out on your own? Or was it more of a sort of you started part-time and that?
I was very fortunate to have a lot of support around me, and I did ease into that. I did. I had moved from California to Utica, New York, found myself working with a psychologist in Utica, got well networked there. It was home. That's one of the reasons we went home.
Yeah.
It was easier to get working around people who already know you.
Yeah.
You know all the relationship pieces to that, right?
Sure.
So when I did get involved in the therapy realm, I was involved with a psychologist who was also in consulting. So he had a consulting business and a therapy practice. Wow. So he started bringing me in as a consultant. I was training for the school districts and in the community. And that's how I got established under his wing, under the umbrella of his business.
I see.
And then transitioned into my own. It's my family
Very
group.
good. Very good.
And you've been doing it ever since.
I've been doing this ever since. Yeah.
By the way, her website is lifeenrichmentconsulting.org, lifeenrichmentconsulting.org. And you are local, Orlando area?
I'm local to the Orlando area now.
How did you end up down here?
Yeah, that's some more of that story. I love my kids. I have 2 adult children.
Okay.
I love them, and I followed them. I don't know how they feel about that.
So they came down first, and you came down after them.
They came down first, and I followed. My son is here in Orlando. He's in school here. And my daughter's at FSU in Tallahassee.
Oh, congratulations.
My question was, what in the world am I doing in Rochester while they're down there?
Exactly.
Made no
what
sense
made
to me.
them choose Florida?
Interesting. They have vision and goal that is unbelievable. They did their homework, and they're looking to establish businesses of their own.
Very good.
And this was a great starting point for my son with his interest in business.
Yes, it is.
I see here that at one time you had your own radio show?
I did. I had a radio show before I left Rochester.
All right.
I did.
And what was it about?
It was about shoveling snow, wasn't it?
I could tell you stories about trying to get to the studio in that
so
snow.
could I.
Whoa.
What'd you call it?
It was called Fresh Winds with Roxanne.
Fresh Winds with Roxanne. See, I like that.
Fresh Winds.
Because I also do a show called The American Adversaries, and most talk show hosts want the show named after themselves, right?
Right.
And you just use your first name. You didn't. It's not like the Dr. Roxanne Bellamy show.
Nah, because it's not about me. It's about the fresh winds.
Exactly.
And I'm just the one to talk to.
Right.
I bring people in, and what
That's kind of our philosophy.
Exactly.
Our show's not about us. It's about America.
Yeah.
So why do we want to name it after us, right?
Thank
Go ahead.
So that's what we did. Yeah. I had the opportunity to just come in and do a show. It was a faith-based station that said, we want to reach out and do something different. We need something
faith-based.
New. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, well, I really don't feel like I can come here and offer, like, you know, the real Bible teaching stuff. That's just not my strength, my area. Yep. It's not my thing. I live it. Right. I definitely live it.
I got you.
And that's why they opened the door. But what I said I would like to do is bring people on a show to talk about the great things that they're doing as everyday, ordinary people out there in the world.
In the community.
That's a great idea.
And so I had the opportunity. They say, go for it. I produced this little show, filled up the schedule for 6 months within like 2.5 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Burnt it through.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people waiting. But what I did is just contacted people, whether it was students on campus where I used to work who were living their lives in ways that stood out. They were set apart, and people want to know how you do it. It's hard being a Christian on campus, on a liberal campus.
Sure.
It's hard being young and trying to be a Christian. It's hard being old and being a Christian.
Hard being Christian at all anymore.
Okay, do it.
Yeah.
And they were successful, and we wanted to spotlight that. And then I had people from the community who were just like anchors in the neighborhood, where they sit on their porch and people who are struggling in life will stop by and stop their car and say, hey, can I talk to you? Drug addicts, alcoholics. But they knew where to go. They knew whose porch to go to. And I brought a woman on who had been just there in the community over the years to be an encouragement. And then there were people who had written books, and artists and flag dancers and people who travel all over the world. It didn't matter what you do. It mattered what your heart was and the effect that it had in the community. So that's what we did. It was great, bringing them on and talking about what they do.
Were you a nonprofit or for-profit?
Nonprofit.
Oh.
It's her website, once again, lifeenrichmentconsulting.org, Dr. Roxanne Bellamy, lifeenrichmentconsulting.org. And she is local. Phone number, 407-542-7083, 407-542-7083. Before, I think it'd be better. I'm trying to decide which way to go here. Should we go into how you got into SCORE? But first, I think we should know, what exactly do you do? For instance, what is Life Enrichment Consulting?
Yeah.
Okay.
You told us what you did when you practiced in California. Is it similar?
Similar on the front end.
Okay.
I'm on the front end of what I did before. I am positioned to help people really advance personally as individuals. My little slogan is helping you to be better so you can do better in life. So I like to come alongside of people and focus on individual issues. It doesn't mean one-on-one. It's not therapy. But I am starting to do some life coaching for individuals, just strategies for how you can really fine-tune some of those tools, whether it be communicating better, whether it be managing my stress better, whether it be having better conversations, relationships, whatever. The other piece to though is to help individuals see who they are, know what they're made of, I say. Know what you're made of so that you can know what you're going to be most successful at. Helping people be successful, advancing their success. So that's what I do in the consulting capacity.
I see also here that you do staff development.
Yeah, I do corporate training as well. I have been working with a client since about 2010 out of New York City, and that gives me the latitude to be anywhere. And I train all over the country. I train nationally, webinars, phone trainings, but I also train most of Florida now. It's stretching, southern Florida, central Florida, and North Florida now, for corporations too.
Based on what you just described, helping people better understand their own potential.
They call me the soft skills trainer.
The soft skills trainer.
I'm the soft skills trainer. So they call me when they want to teach their people about how to handle their anger, or how to sleep better, or how to manage their stress, how to transition, change management. You know, how do you talk to an employee as supervisors when there's a tough subject
situation.
To approach. Yeah. So those are the soft skills trainings that I do through another company. I have a client in New York who sends me out. Sort
of life coaching through those tough, rough areas, that everyone has to deal with at some point, right?
Skills building, teaching them the skills and the strategies.
Yeah. Right. So that they don't do the wrong thing either intentionally or unintentionally.
Exactly.
Most of the times people do the wrong thing unintentionally, but then they regret it. I mean, so exactly. It's better to try to avoid the situation.
Yep. Exactly. And that's what I mean by getting on the front end. You know what I mean? Not waiting until we're in a pinch, not waiting till we can't handle it anymore.
Right.
Equipping people on the front end to prevent that stuff.
Knowing that being human beings, that stuff is always going to happen.
You just took one of my little lines. That's what I teach people. We're just humans being human.
Here we go.
I'm going to show it to them. It's printed on a piece of paper.
Yeah, all right.
Wow, meeting of the minds right here.
I know. I'm out of here.
Stay. We need you. You're an anchor.
See, you didn't know, but we had lunch a little while ago.
Holy cow.
That's scary.
All right, well, listen,
philosophers.
Want to remind you how you can get a hold of Dr. Roxanne Bellamy and perhaps meet with her privately or have her come speak to your organization, you and your organization. You can go to lifeenrichmentconsulting.org. You can email her there at Roxanne at lifeenrichmentconsulting.org. Just write it all out. Phone number 407-542-7083, 407-542-7083. And once again, she is now local, although she travels, as she said, all over the place, but she's based now here in Orlando. So if you're local, get a hold of her. If you're anywhere else, get a hold of her.
Get a hold of her.
Like
right?
That.
Exactly.
Get a hold of me. And you know what else? People can go on Facebook if they're Facebook people. Roxanne Bellamy, Ph.D. Facebook, or Life Enrichment Consulting Facebook.
All right. Okay. All right. So we're going to take another break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation and find out how she got involved with SCORE and how that worked out for her. It must have been pretty good. You said 11 years. You're still working with them. All right. We'll be right back with more of What's the Score? Okay, welcome back to What's the Score? Christopher Hart here, along with Rich Jekyll. Today's guest is Dr. Roxanne Bellamy,
Ph.D.
Well, if you want to visit her on Facebook, go to Roxanne Bellamy, Ph.D., and that's on Facebook, or Life Enrichment Consulting on Facebook, and lifeenrichmentconsulting.org on the web world, in the web world. And we were just discussing with her what she does. She's now a trainer, a coach, for the soft skills, as you called them. Those are the interpersonal skills.
Yeah, the people stuff.
The people stuff.
Yeah.
That is, as you're interacting with other folks, whether it be employees, clients, potential clients, whatever, and also the interpersonal things that could get you to not be able to sleep at night.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
right. So it's fascinating what she does. But now you said you were in Rochester when you began working with SCORE. Why did you begin working with SCORE? And first of all, how did you find out about SCORE?
First of all, what are you doing in Rochester?
We already found out about that. We already found out about that.
It was the next stop in life, and I got there and said, "Now what?" And you know, how did I find out about SCORE? It was Small Business Development Association.
Okay.
Where I was working with them in Utica. And when I was moving to Rochester, they said, well, you can also check into this. So I'd gone to a workshop with Small Business Development, and they mentioned SCORE at that workshop.
Okay. So you checked out SCORE, and they set you up with a counselor?
They sure did. I needed to know everything at that point. I needed to know how to go about, who to go to. Because my business was not just moving, but it was growing at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Shaking and moving.
Yep,
we were doing all of that at the same time, and I just didn't have a clue who to go to, how to structure things, how to organize my business. What SCORE did for me, because as we're talking, you hear all these bits and pieces of things that I do. And what SCORE helped me to do is come up with an actual kind of diagram, like an org chart for my business.
Yeah, business plan, part of a business plan.
And it helped me to prioritize. It helped me to structure. And as we're talking about all these different things, it sounds like a lot and it's all dangling out there, but it's all very much connected. And I ended up going from I registered Life Enrichment Consulting as a DBA in 1996. And 2000, I organized it as an LLC under a different name. It grew, not just doing the consulting anymore, not just going and doing training, but that's when I started producing events.
Right.
And I got working with a young person who really challenged me. We were at a concert one time, and we were both standing in the back, and we were listening, and he was saying, I can hear a room for improvement here. He was like 19 years old. And he had my ear because I could hear exactly what he was listening to. And he challenged me. He said, why aren't we doing anything about it?
What?
We can do what they're doing, and we can close the gaps. We can bring the quality, and we can grow the resource for the community. We can do it in ways that will serve the community even better than this.
Rich, does her story sound familiar to people who come into SCORE regularly? They don't have a business plan, and that's one of the first things they need to do?
Yeah. Actually, the structure of the business plan really gives them a pathway to succeed. And they have to think about it, and they have to put it in their own words. It can't be our words. It has to be theirs. So they think through the issues.
Right. It begins the process of really setting one's mind to what they're...
Focus.
Exactly.
Yep.
Focusing it.
Focus.
We talk about business plans oftentimes, but a lot of people may not know exactly what we're talking about. Just give a couple of highlights of what you mean by a business plan.
Everybody thinks that a business plan has to be the size of a phone book.
Right.
It can only be actually about 10 pages. In other words, what's your operational schedule? What's your operational structure, like you did, Roxanne? And then what does the business do? And then who are the principals? And the marketing plan, which is the key plan to the whole business plan. How am I going to get people in? How am I going to get people to know about me?
Right.
So that is the key part. And then the appendix is more of the P&L, profit and loss statement, and income statement, and balance sheet, and that kind of stuff.
Right. So the business plan, you organize your structure of the business. Then you organize your plan of action.
Right. What time are you going to be open?
And how are you going to get customers, mainly, like you just said.
Yep.
Your plan of attack, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your supporting documents.
Mm-hmm.
And that essentially is your business plan.
That's it. It should only be 10 pages.
Right. But you can go to score.org, where they have templates for all different kinds of businesses.
Over 500.
Exactly. So if you want to start a lawn care business, or if you want to start a restaurant, or if you want to start
car detailing.
Yeah, or a professional business, you go there, and there will be a template there that will help guide you as you develop your own business plan.
Absolutely correct.
And so that's what it's all about. You mentioned during the break that you have a program that well, first of all, let me back up. You mentioned that your radio show was faith-based.
Mm-hmm.
Was your practice also faith-based, and does that play a large role in what you do now?
My practice when I was a therapist?
Yes, helping people with alcoholism and the various afflictions you were describing.
No, it wasn't faith-based in terms of
your approach?
Our approach.
Yeah.
But I would say, me being one who practices the faith,
right?
The foundation is there, but we didn't advertise ourselves as faith-based, no. And we didn't talk about faith-related issues directly, no.
Okay.
It's like what I did in the prisons. I wasn't faith-based. I was practical. Mm-hmm. Here's how you start a business. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you started working with SCORE, and what did they? And so they helped you organize yourself.
Helped me really think about the structure of the business, because I had seen myself go from a DBA in 1996.
You want to explain what that is?
Doing business as is my other official name. Rather than putting my personal name on promotionals, I was able to adopt the name Life Enrichment Consulting, and I registered that name and filed the doing business as name in 1996.
Yep.
And then it was when I met that young, innovative man who urged me to consider doing something that we started talking about producing conferences and concerts. And that's when a new name emerged to cover that. So the business started out as this consulting arm that I'm talking with you about.
Right.
And then we grew and added this events kind of umbrella for it.
Huh.
And
under the original?
No,
under the original
fell under the new. How about that?
But SCORE was helping you along the way develop all of this and go through the changes?
I came to SCORE after that.
Okay.
After we had come to a new name.
Okay.
I really wish I had SCORE in my life before the new name because, we talk about those regrets and those business bumps and stumbles. I had a lot of them, obviously. And I spent a lot of time and a lot of money that didn't have to be spent. Mm-hmm. So, I ended up with name changes legally and everything.
So you started working with SCORE 11 years ago in Rochester, and they were helping you up there. Did you have one particular mentor that you were working with on a regular basis?
Actually, I started with one, and he referred me to others who specialized in other areas because I had legal, I had
marketing,
right,
structure, growth,
intellectual properties. Questions as a producer of events where I was playing music at these events.
I see.
So they helped me to realize, okay, these are some of the different specialty areas that you need to be covered in. So they would refer me to different mentors based on whatever the topic area was.
Mm-hmm. All right. Once again, you can find Roxanne Bellamy, Ph.D. on Facebook. You can visit her at lifeenrichmentconsulting.org. You can send her an email, Roxanne at lifeenrichmentconsulting.org. And that you can also find her on Facebook at that title. And the phone number is 407-542-7083, 407-542-7083. So when you moved down here, did you immediately go to the SCORE office down here? Did they kind of set it up for you?
After my eyeballs stopped spinning, I went to SCORE.
You did? Okay.
It was a big, tough move, and I took a little while to just breathe and take care of my personal stuff.
I see. Yeah.
And then once I got my legs a little bit, I ran to SCORE. And I've been down there at the center on and off, various stages of different
growth.
Different direction, different needs. I just keep going back.
And it's we've pointed this out on the show before, but it's important to point it out again. And that is that SCORE is there pretty much at your convenience. Mm-hmm. Once you go in there, they're not going to say, okay, you got to be back here next week at such and such time so we can keep working on this. It's up to you. It's all up to you. They're there as much or as little for you as you would like.
Right. Yep.
And so don't be intimidated. Don't be hesitant. Be smart. Go down to SCORE. If you're thinking about starting a business or got one running, have issues or not, they can do stuff for you over there, and it's easy to visit with them as well. I mean, it's very convenient. They're there in the National Entrepreneur Center, 9 to 5. Monday through Friday, or business hours, Monday through Friday.
Right.
You can call them on the phone at 407-420-4844 or go to orlando.score.org.
As Roxanne said, she spent a lot of money on the pitfalls, and what we try to do here is alert you and educate you on the possible pitfalls that you're going to have so you don't spend all that money.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So once again, lifeenrichmentconsulting.org, Roxanne Bellamy, Ph.D. Both of those, you can find her on Facebook. And the phone number is 407-542-7083. Do you still produce concerts, or now you just doing mainly the soft skills training?
That's interesting. I produce events now that typically involve music. I love music.
Yeah, I see that you taught it for a while.
She sings it too.
I love music.
You're a gospel choir director.
I was a gospel choir director for a small school, and I did a lot of things around music. And then I realized, music is just one piece of many of our events, but even the events broaden. Now I'm doing writers' retreats. I've done those over the years. for people who want to write a book, don't know how to do it, don't know where to start. I bring people with experience together to sit down with the people who have the passion for it and need the know-how. And we're getting ready to launch a cruise, actually, for writers.
Yeah, you got a big event coming up.
Yes.
We'll talk about that when we come back from the break. We
want to help people. That's it.
All right. And we'll talk about that event and the BizFest. We'll remind you about that as well when we come back from the break. Once again, you are listening to What's the Score? And we thank you for telling your friends and family about us, and keep doing it. The audience is growing, and we really do appreciate that. And help us get the word out for a great organization, SCORE. Orlando.score.org for the local office, score.org for the national website. We'll be right back with more of What's the Score? Okay, welcome back to What's the Score? Christopher Hart here along with Rich Jekyll and Dr. Roxanne Bellamy. Before we get back to the conversation here, I mentioned at the top of the show that this show is made possible by the great folks here at Salem Media Orlando. And Salem is a nationwide organization, a communications company, and they have stations all over the country, but none better than the ones they have right here in Central Florida.
Yeah,
4 great radio stations here and great management for these stations. And if you'd like to be on the radio, this is the place to do it. Believe me, I've been here a while and I know. All right, so it is still also one of the most effective ways to get your message out to a mass audience and focus it into the audience, that part of the mass that you would like to hear it. And with 4 great stations here, including a Spanish-speaking station, Salem can help you get your message to the people you would like to hear it the most. And Bill Files is the man to talk to. He's the head guy here, and he really knows the business. 407-618-1760. He can explain to you how really effective radio can be for your business or organization, and how efficiently you can spend your marketing and advertising dollars through radio.
Yeah.
407-618-1760. Bill's a great guy. This show would not be possible without his approval and his assistance.
Yep.
And we owe him, and all of Central Florida owes him a great debt of gratitude for that right there.
Yeah,
and all the folks at Salem Media Group.
I like it the way they target the markets, you know?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like different hours for different groups. And
that's right. And by the way, once again, talk radio is the most listened to radio format in the country. And at some point during the week, 94% of America will listen to the radio.
Awesome.
And I'm talking about the old, and now everybody, you know what I'm talking about? The old-fashioned over-the-air radio, okay?
Okay, well, he's done for today.
All right, so, Dr. Bellamy, you
can call me Roxanne, please.
Okay, Roxanne.
Thank
you. You
can call me sir.
Okay, sir.
You can call me Trouble.
Exactly.
Exactly. You guys mentioned something about a cruise.
Yeah.
So what's this about?
All right. I know we started out with this little consulting thing as a DBA, and then we put an umbrella business over it, and the name of that business is Boulder Spirit Productions. Boulder Spirit Productions. BOLD. Bold. For Spirit Productions.
Got it.
And that became the umbrella, and Life Enrichment Consulting fell under that. But we also had an events division. We were talking about the events. What do I produce? Concerts, conferences, all that kind of stuff started happening. Retreats. Then we started specializing in retreats for writers, conferences for women.
How did you get into those specialty areas?
People came to me. I know that sounds strange.
But doesn't it all get back to your basic philosophy that you were talking about with your soft skills?
It does.
Especially people who are creative.
Exactly.
Yeah, but she's targeting certain markets.
But it's all you're dealing from the fundamentals.
And you know what happened? When people heard our mission, our vision is to help you do what it is that you're designed to do and to do it well.
Right.
people started coming to us. If we're at a music venue, people wanted us to produce CDs for them, or I started doing a nightclub, a Christian nightclub we produced. So there was a place for them to come and get their music out. Right. So we became like the forum or the platform for people to come and speak out, like the radio show. Yeah. Create a place for their voice to come, platform production. Yeah. And then it turned into, okay, you people, you want to write a book? We'll create an environment and an atmosphere for you to get what you need so you can write that book. So we're now launching to cruises for writers. We're now just recently advertising this. And I told people, great news for the writers out there. We've been really busy planning. We've been preparing behind the scenes, and we have a question for them now. Here it is. Writers, are you ready for a 4-day, 3-night Caribbean cruise? We are taking speakers who will transform your life and your experience, published authors, successful writing consultants, and a publishing arm, our business, to take people out and equip them, get them away, get them focused, give them the tools, give them the strategies, give them the access, give them the opportunity to help refine so that they can be successful.
Where can they get tickets? Can they get them through lifeenrichmentconsulting.org?
I need to hear if people are ready to do this thing. Okay. We are in the stages. We need to know how many. We will sail with 20 people. We will sail with 20.
Well, once again, though, are you going to restrict it to just writers? Because it would seem to me that
here he goes.
Well,
it's true.
That's
Keep talking. No, it's coming because
you had mentioned a while ago. You had mentioned a while ago during the break that you have a program right now that you're using called DNA.
Yes.
All right. It seems like all of this it kind of gets to this focal point of helping people find their potential,
their niche.
Exactly.
Not just their potential and niche, but how to tap into it, how to make good on it.
You got to stop taking my stuff. Because here's the thing. You said it. It's exactly that. It all ties in because when we help people to identify, okay, what's your passion, what's your interest, what you're made for, what do you do well, we want to help you be successful. We know DNA stands for, this is our little program acronym.
Yeah, this is not detrohydro.
No. This isn't the science thing. No.
Right.
We got no science thing going on there, but this is our acronym: destination, navigation, activation. And the subtitle to that is the power of identity applied. What I mean by that is when you know what you're made of, then it helps you to know what you're made for, what you're made to do. And when you actually do the things you're designed for, that's where success abides.
It's also fulfilling.
It's very fulfilling. And isn't that the crux of success?
Yep.
You know, and I think at some point, and probably, if not everyone's life, it's certainly, I would think it'd be a high percentage, people wonder, am I doing what I really was made to do?
Yeah.
Right? Because most people take jobs because they're good careers.
Yes.
Not necessarily because they've gotten in tune with their DNA.
Right. So
at some point, I think people have those doubts.
Right.
Is it ever too late?
Never too late, long as you got breath in your lungs. That's what I believe. Just live. Keep living, keep growing, keep transitioning. It's not too late. Look at me. I got gray hair.
Not as much as Richard, right?
Look at us. We got no hair.
And we're still going, and we're still growing, and we're launching. It's exciting.
What about being old? You know, you don't have the energy to do this anymore. The change is tapping into your energy, tapping into your well.
And that's time, I think, when you realize where you are and you capitalize on what works and what is good now.
Okay.
We don't live in our past. We live in our present, and we maximize that.
Yeah. In fact, the past doesn't exist, and the future is just a promise. The now is what is.
That's where we are, and every now he's got this stuff like exploding.
I'm telling you, he's waxing philosophic on this one. Wow,
it's real though.
It's like playing a good tennis player. It brings out the best in you.
Oh my God!
All right, lifeenrichmentconsulting.org.
Yeah.
Dr. Roxanne Bellamy. You can find her on Facebook at Roxanne Bellamy Ph.D. Roxanne Bellamy, Ph.D. There are other Roxanne Bellamys out there. So you go to Roxanne Bellamy, Ph.D. or Life Enrichment Consulting on Facebook. The phone number she has, it's right here in Central Florida, 407-542-7083, 407-542-7083. And at some point in everybody's life, I know they have these doubts, these concerns. And if you are having them now, you need to get a hold of this woman. And if you have an organization where you feel that the skills that she can teach, the soft skills, and you combine that with the DNA thing, because the soft skills is how to cope, pretty much with everyday situations, either individually or amongst your workers.
Also, how you treat people.
Yes,
exactly.
Right. Interaction with people,
clients, vendors, the whole 9 yards.
Yes,
family, loved ones, for that matter.
That's right.
And the DNA, though, is to help you understand what you're best suited for.
Yeah.
And where your real
where you want to go
are.
is the destination. Navigation is how you get there, and activation is getting you moving.
Getting you moving. That's right.
Let's go.
All right.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned on the break there that about the move and businesses moving to Florida, for instance.
SCORE helped me immensely with that. I was just so confused. What do? I have a business that's organized in the state of New York. I'm now living in Florida. How do I operate out of Florida? Do I change my business address? All of those questions were insane.
Change your bank.
Changing banks, bank accounts, postal mailing addresses. How do I do all of that? What's the rationale behind it? What's advisable to me? All those questions, they helped me through all of that.
Well, we have a template on score.org for just that thing, moving your business.
Really?
Yeah.
They the great thing about SCORE is they can help you with the smallest detail or the biggest problem.
Yep.
Right? And they're there at your convenience and for your asking all over the country. How many offices now?
There is 400 offices and 14,000 counselors.
And growing.
Yeah.
And growing.
Yep.
All right. So please do take advantage of it. And a great way, if you've never been in contact with, never even heard of SCORE, come out to the BizFest. It's a great way to get acquainted with everyone. You can do one of the speed counseling sessions. That gets you in the door.
Right.
And you'll get to have one of the best networking, probably the best networking opportunity.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
In Central Florida for the year. And it is free. It is held at the National Entrepreneur Center in the Fashion Square Mall. Just park in the parking garage and look for the vines on the wall. They will lead you to the source of your growth. And it begins at noon. And we would like you to pre-register orlando.score.org or just call over at 407-420-4844. Either way works. And please plan on being there.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing
Thanks to our sponsors, too.
Yeah, we'll be doing a live remote broadcast of my other show, but we'll be focusing on the BizFest and SCORE. So come on over there and see how we do it and get to know everybody.
Yeah.
Please do take advantage of this and the other things that SCORE has to offer. As you found out today with Roxanne, SCORE is there and can help you get wherever you want to go, whether it's literally across the country
Rochester to Florida,
or with a bigger bank account, right?
Yep.
So do please take advantage of it. Once again, Roxanne Bellamy, Ph.D., and Life Enrichment Consulting. Those are the two addresses you can find her at on Facebook. LifeEnrichmentConsulting.org, 407-542-7083. Don't wait. Find out what your DNA is today.
Oh, God. Is it over yet?
All right. It's been a lot of fun today, and I hope you folks enjoyed it. Don't forget, you can find these shows archived at orlando.score.org.